The lies that are being perpetuated by the body acceptance movement are unacceptable. Body acceptance does not mean giving up on your health goals. Accepting your body and loving your body should mean that you invest more into it. If it's something that would make you truly intrinsically happier, then you do you. It's okay for us to be the versions of ourselves that we want to be. Don't allow other people's narrative of you're perfect exactly the way that you are stop you from wanting to change things. Is that what we want for our future children? Is that what we want for our families?
You actually have to learn how to push yourself. You have to learn how to leverage the power of your decisions, and you've got to learn how to take action when you don't feel like it.
Welcome to the 1 in a Million podcast with me, your host, Millie Cvetkovic. This is your go-to destination for empowering conversations on mastering confidence in both body and mind. Welcome back to another episode of the 1 in a Million podcast. Today's topic, 4 body acceptance lies that are keeping you stuck, being unhappy, being miserable, unconfident in your body. Now, the body acceptance movement, it's a difficult topic because a lot of people seem to have a different opinion on what body acceptance is. I'm going to be speaking from my opinion on how I perceive body acceptance. I believe what the media seems to perpetuate is that we should love ourselves and our bodies no matter what. This is something that I fundamentally disagree with because as humans, we are all far from perfect. We all have problems and issues and things that are not good about us. This is something that we wouldn't be afraid to say if we're talking about our personality traits or our characteristics. For instance, I would say previously when I was a people pleaser, that was a weakness. Yes, I suppose it had some benefits, but on the whole, there was lots of negative things that happened as a result of me being a people pleaser or even a perfectionist. So it seems when it comes to certain elements of perhaps our personality, we can own up and say, this is something that I'd like to change about myself. If someone had anger issues and they acted completely out of line and unreasonably as a result of their anger, wouldn't we strive to say, okay, this person needs to go and learn how to improve their emotional regulation and make a long-term change, because otherwise they're going to do themselves or someone else some damage. So why does it seem to be the case that when it comes to our bodies, that's not actually what the body acceptance movement is talking about? There are people saying that we need to accept all parts of our bodies when not all parts of our bodies are positive things. There are certain things that we cannot control about our bodies. Stretch marks, for instance. It's very, very normal to have stretch marks. It could be as a result of pregnancy, having had a child. It could be as a result of puberty. You know, your boobs grow really fast. Okay, you've got some stretch marks. I've even seen so many guys that through training and putting on muscle fast as a teenager, they have actually got stretch marks on their bodies. So these things we can't change, but there's also nothing inherently negative about it. So I can understand why the body acceptance movement might say, learn to love yourself no matter what. Like, this doesn't mean anything bad about you. Like, that's okay. I get that. But if we're talking about things that are controllable, such as being overweight, carrying far too much body fat to be healthy, being obese, these things are not to be accepted because it's damaging. And it's not only damaging to ourselves as individuals with all the health complications that can derive as a result of being overweight, it's damaging to our loved ones and the people around us. And I have experienced this firsthand. Some of you may not know, but last year I lost my dad. And the reason why I lost my father, in my eyes, was entirely something that was preventable. My dad was diagnosed with bladder cancer. Now, if you go and research how frequent or common bladder cancer is, it's not actually that common, except for with smokers. And what did my dad do? He smoked from the age of 12 until his last day that he died at the age of 72. So this man smoked for 60 years. Yes, he was smoking on his deathbed. That's how little he believed that he was capable of changing. And it might give you a little bit of an understanding why I do what I do today. So he caused himself to have cancer, but also something else that contributed to my father's death. It was not actually the cancer that killed him. It was sepsis after the surgery that was done to remove his bladder and his cancer. The sepsis occurred not as a result of just a random infection that happened, but actually because my dad was overweight and because he was therefore a type 2 diabetic and a smoker, the high blood sugar levels, the lack of oxygen in his blood, all of that meant that the wound from the surgery would not heal properly. Had my father even just been a smoker, but been maybe 30 or 40 kilos lighter and not been a type 2 diabetic, he would have been able to transport blood around his body way better than what he was able to because of his body composition. And it's likely that actually the surgery wound would have healed properly and he wouldn't have got sepsis and passed away as a result of that. So do you think that when I found out that my dad was diagnosed with cancer and he needed to have life-altering surgery, do you think I told my dad, oh, just love yourself as you are, even if you are 50 kilos overweight? You think that's what I said to him? You're fine absolutely as you are. Of course I didn't. I could not have strived to help him more when it came to changing his body and not accepting that body that he had created. Because I don't care who you are. I don't care what your circumstances are. Myself and the hundreds of women whose lives we have transformed to be fitter and healthier, regardless of whatever their circumstances are. Whether it's PCOS, endometriosis, other autoimmune conditions, inflammatory bowel disease. I don't care what it is. Even whether you've got thyroid issues, you absolutely can lose body fat and transform your physique and body to be a healthier and fitter body composition where you're less likely to have health complications. So the lies that are being perpetuated by the body acceptance movement are unacceptable. Yes, accept your stretch marks, but no, do not accept the fact that you are overweight. Do not accept the fact that you truly deep down know that what you're putting into your body is disrespectful to your health. You might be a more curvy female. You might not naturally have a very athletic and lean body composition. Trust me, I don't. I definitely don't have a very lean and athletic body composition. I never have. And for me to try and stay very lean is actually something where I have to put in a lot of work. My body is a body type that is more prone to building muscle and storing a higher body fat percentage than some women who are teeny tiny. But it doesn't matter who you are, you can still have a healthy body composition. So the lie, which is you need to love every single part of your body, is entirely false. There are certain things that you should not love. The second lie, and it truly breaks my heart for the women that believe this because they think that they're being accepted by a community. Ultimately, most humans just want to feel like they belong somewhere. The women who truly believe that body acceptance means giving up on their health goals are destined for a life of not ever truly fulfilling their potential or being fulfilled because they've settled, because a certain community has said, oh no, you're absolutely fine the way that you are. There's no need to change anything. Like, you're fit and healthy. Yeah, you might be fit and healthy in your eyes, even if your BMI is 35. And I don't care whether BMI is a good or a bad measure of progress. If it's 35, it's too high. Okay? 35 as a BMI indicator is guaranteed that you're not where you should be, whether BMI is accurate or not. But to be told you're absolutely fine the way that you are, don't worry about changing anything, because if you feel fine, then you are fine, it's not good enough. It's not. Because at some point, health complications will strike. You cannot be that overweight without health complications in the future. And, you know, this actually does remind me, recently I had a discovery call with a lady that has joined our team and is now making phenomenal progress. And she certainly was in a body composition that was a much higher body fat percentage than is considered healthy. And we had a very frank conversation. And she said, there's no negative repercussions of me being here yet. Like, I know that I'm overweight. I know that I carry more fat than I should. But I feel good. I'm confident in myself. Like, I'm a very confident person. I'm happy within myself. Like, I don't completely despise my body, but I know that I'm kind of against a ticking clock. And then she started talking about her family members and how other people had heart issues. And that's when I had to say to her, would you rather pull the trigger now and stop whatever might be happening in your body from continuing, as in whatever negative health effects are happening, because ultimately something underlying will be going on that one day you'll get diagnosed with? Or would you rather wait until the trigger is pulled on you and you're told that you've got something which is irreversible? Because a lot of people don't realize that being overweight, it doesn't just give you like reversible health conditions. You can be diagnosed with autoimmune conditions that you have for your whole life. In fact, obesity or being overweight is one of the leading causes of cancer. These things, when you look at the information behind it, it's terrifying what being at a too high body fat percentage will do. So I said to her, I was just like, okay, so who's going to pull the trigger? Is it going to be you or is it going to be someone else? And ultimately she decided that she was going to take action. She was going to do what she needed to do to get herself to a much healthier body composition. And she's on the process now to fall in love with herself 10 times more. And she didn't even feel like she needed to. She already thought that she loved herself enough. And she probably did. But now she loves herself even more because she's truly giving herself the future that she deserves. And not just herself, but her future children, her future family. because she's going to be here for longer. She's going to be here for longer. She's going to be able to run around and chase after the young ones in her life. And that's something that she wouldn't be able to do otherwise. She won't do something like what my father did, which is tap out of my life way sooner than I ever wanted him to, because he couldn't get a grasp on his ability to improve his health, or he just didn't care enough. He wanted to sit and eat crap and smoke because it was easier. Is that what we want for our future children? Is that what we want for our families? Because we can say, oh, but I love myself how I am. Body acceptance does not mean giving up on your health goals. Accepting your body and loving your body should mean that you invest more into it. If you are a busy, career-driven woman and you know that your inability to lose the body fat that you want to lose is stopping you from living a confident, successful life, then hear me out. We have just launched our Fat Loss Accelerator program, which is made specifically for women who are constrained for time, yet they want to lose anywhere between 10 to 25 pounds of body weight within 90 days. Throughout this process, we're also going to teach you exactly what you need to know so that you can maintain this result forever, that it's the lifestyle changes and the habits that you need to implement for the rest of your life to finally become that confident and successful woman who excels in all areas of her life. So if you're interested in finding out more about our Fat Loss Accelerator program, then send me a message on Instagram. Send me the words Fat Loss Accelerator. My Instagram is millie@teamcbm. The link is in the description below, and I will get back to you with all the information that you need to know. Back to the episode. There's this other lie that seems to be perpetuated, and I think this is probably the biggest one. This is the most deceiving thing. I see it on social media. There are these videos and these reels of like women grabbing their body fat and stroking their body fat and like showing all their stretch marks and jiggling things around. I'm still yet to figure out exactly the comfort that they derive in producing that content and that others derive in consuming it. But that's beside the point, to be honest. These women, and even the women who look like they are the most confident women ever, and they post the most amazing, beautiful photos in their incredible physiques. It doesn't matter who you are. We all have insecurities. We all have parts of our bodies that we don't like. We all have parts of our bodies that perhaps, maybe, we would change. Some women, I believe, produce this type of body acceptance content to strive to show that they're at peace with their bodies, and that largely they're pretty satisfied and they're happy to just live with the stretch marks and embrace the jiggles here and there. And maybe that's something that has helped them find the acceptance of the things that are permanent and cannot be changed without surgery or something else. But also there will be days where these women do not feel so good in their bodies. There will be days that these women might think about changing certain things about their bodies. And who are we to judge whether they're insecure about something or whether they're not? If you told me your deepest, darkest insecurities about your body, most of the things that you talk about, I probably wouldn't even notice. If I told you that one thing that really annoys me and that I don't particularly like about my body is the fact that after I lost over 50 pounds of body fat, a lot of that weight I gained on my thighs, and actually my upper thighs, my very, very top of my thighs. I've got quite a lot of loose skin there. And it rubs together when I run, when I walk, when I wear dresses, when I wear skirts. It is annoying when I'm training sometimes because it almost catches. Someone who has completely lean toned legs won't understand this. But when you've got loose skin, you know that you dress or move in a way that is perhaps different to someone that doesn't, right? So if I told you that, most people probably wouldn't even think that, because naturally I am a pretty lean, tone-defined body. But unless you kind of saw or lived in my body, you wouldn't know that that's something that I found annoying. And you wouldn't know that's something that actually I would quite like to change. However, who are you to judge whether that's something that I should or I shouldn't be able to change? If I said I don't want to accept the loose skin that's at the top of my thighs, if I don't have to have it there, would you judge me for that? I wouldn't judge you if you said that you wanted to lose body fat, if you wanted to have bigger glutes, if you wanted to change your hair color. Maybe these things you're really insecure about. I probably wouldn't notice, but if it's something that would make you truly intrinsically happier, then you do you. Like, you do what makes you feel good. Because it's okay for us to be the versions of ourselves that we want to be. Don't allow other people's narrative of you're perfect exactly the way that you are stop you from wanting to change things. Okay? Just because she can stroke her belly fat and record reels and put it on Instagram and she's really happy within her body doesn't mean that you have to feel the same way. It doesn't. It does not. So remember, when you think that other people have it figured out and you think when other people's thinking pattern is correct, it doesn't mean that, because we're different humans. Someone else might not value being a really fit and healthy and athletic body composition, but maybe truly deep down that's what you'd love. Maybe you'd want to be able to wake up on a Sunday morning and go and run 10 kilometers and not even feel slightly out of breath, because that's what it feels like to live, to be free, to experience the world. Maybe the girl who's uploading the reels, jiggling around the body fat that she's got, maybe she wouldn't actually be able to do that because of the body composition that she's in. But maybe that's something that's not a priority to her. So it's okay. But it's about, what do you want for you? Line number 4. That body acceptance is something that eventually happens, like it's a one-time achievement. No. Body acceptance, or loving ourselves for exactly, quote unquote, as we are, is something that is ever changing. It's never going to be stagnant or something that is just like a finish line that you can cross. Because let's use me as an example here. So I lost 50 pounds of unwanted body fat. I felt better in my body. I thought that would be it and that I would be able to accept my body then. But I wasn't happy because I didn't lift any weights before losing that body fat. So I just looked like a deflated version of the overweight version of myself. Probably even worse. I was skinny fat, no glutes, pancake ass, loads of loose skin on my belly. My freaking boobs were like hanging. They weren't boobs anymore. I was like, man, okay, I need to do something different now, because I'm now not satisfied. I felt weak. And so I trained, I got strong, I fell in love with resistance training. I built muscle and I had this athletic physique. And I thought, okay, this is good. Like I'm feeling better about myself. But now I almost completely look like an athlete, except for when I take my clothes off, I've got this apron overhanging around my belly because of all the loose skin from where I grew up overweight and I got heavier as a kid. And no amount of fat loss can get rid of loose skin. If you have truly stretched out loose skin, the only way to get rid of that is surgery. And the other thing is, again, as I said, my boobs, I lost a lot of fat and there wasn't much breast tissue left there to look like they were feminine, perky boobs. And I didn't feel confident without my clothes on. And I thought, okay, well, what do I truly want for me? There's certain people on social media, I'd followed a lot of weight loss or fat loss content creators. And they were adamant. They were adamant about not getting rid of their loose skin through surgery because they felt that it would take away part of their character or part of their journey or part of what they termed as their battle scars. And I just didn't understand that. I thought, I feel so good except for this. Like, everything that I have to wear still has to be high-waisted. My belly skin is drooping over my underwear or whatever clothes I'm trying to wear. Like, my boobs, they don't fill out my clothes nicely. I don't feel feminine. I don't feel sexy. And I thought, but surely I should be happy now? And that's when I realized that I was trying to live by the standards or the thought processes of other people. And I decided then I was going to live by my own desires and my own standards, which was I was going to get the tummy tuck. I was going to get the breast augmentation. And best believe it, after that, I was like, oh my goodness, we're finally getting to that point now where there is true contentment and happiness. After years and years and years of working my ass off, putting in all the love into this journey for not just my body from a vanity or aesthetics perspective, but also through how I move my body, it leveled up everything. And even now, there's still parts of my body that I kind of think, I'd like to have a slightly bit of a bigger shelf. I like the glutes. Maybe I'd like a little bit more abdominal core strength. Maybe a little bit more ab definition. And it's just new focus points, new things for us perhaps to be able to work on. And I don't simply mean this just from aesthetics. Another thing that I was really unhappy about with my body when I decided last year to move away from bodybuilding was the fact that I might have had muscle, but my fitness levels were terrible. I couldn't run for the bus. And I thought, what kind of a body is worth having that looks amazing? Yet, if I wanted to go, I don't know, run and save someone, like it was, I was at the beach. This is part of the reasons that I started running. I was at the beach and I saw there was a bit of commotion in the water. And I thought something bad had happened. And I kind of started to run or go towards it. And it wasn't anything serious. It was just kids making a whole lot of noise and being silly. But after that, I remember feeling so out of breath and so unfit and unhealthy. And I thought, how can I have a body that looks strong, yet I'm actually not fit or healthy whatsoever? And how do I want to live the rest of my life? Do I want to live it just someone that looks good, or do I want to be unstoppable, where if you said, Millie, give me 100 push-ups right now, that I'd be able to do it? Or if I wanted to, as I say, get up on a Sunday morning and go for a run down the beach, that I can do it. Because it's a different form of therapy. It's a different form of having a peaceful mindset. It's a different mode of training your body to be disciplined. So even through my fitness levels, I decided that I didn't accept them, that I wanted better. And I think settling or just accepting sometimes is something that we allow ourselves to do because it provides us with this excuse that what we have or what we are right now is good enough. But if truly deep down we want more and we want better for ourselves, then why are we using this excuse? Why are we using this blanket to cover up our true desires? Because if I said, okay, here's a version of you that accepts you exactly as you are now, you will never ever need to change. You can just accept yourself forever. Or here's a version of you that isn't painfully self-critical and doesn't absolutely despise yourself, but you're able to speak to yourself and say, hey, I know that you can do a little bit better here. Or I know that you can get your fitness levels up a little bit. I know that you can build those glutes a little bit more. I know that you can get those fitness levels up. I know that you can run that first 5K. I know that you can get back into those old pair of jeans. Come on, let's do it. wouldn't you rather be the version of you that is striving for more as opposed to just being content because it's the easier option? So I hope this episode has given a little bit of insight into why it's okay to come to terms with certain parts of yourself that perhaps you can't change. Whether it is physical properties, whether it's illnesses or ailments that you live with. But if you have control in order to change it, and you want to improve it, and you want it to be different, then who is anyone else to say that you should settle for what you have? Why not work on bringing a version of yourself into the world that you truly are so proud to be? Because if I had settled, or if I'd listened to the body acceptance movement throughout the last few years of my life, I can hands down tell you there is no way I would be so happy, so happy within my own skin. And it's not quite 100% perfect. That happiness, we have certain better days, we have certain days that aren't so good. As I've even said, there's certain parts of my body that I still kind of I'm not that completely satisfied with. But it doesn't put me through perpetual pain. And that's okay, right? But I can also say that from the perspective of someone who is not in a body that is unhealthy, because there is no tolerance for that. And it's not just for you, as I said, it's for your loved ones and everyone else around you. I'm very curious, very, very curious to hear your thoughts on what you think body acceptance is, whether you think that I've got it right or whether I've completely missed the mark. So let me know in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or otherwise drop me a message on Instagram, share it to your stories. Tell me, what do you think when it comes to the body acceptance movement? Is it serving us or is it hindering us? And once again, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Much love.